Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, and this is not really an official episode per se, but more like an actual, how should I put this? Maybe like a breakdown, understanding, kind of a clarification exactly as to what happened in regards to Medarot S as of today, today of recording, which is the 30th of May, 2024. So, as many of the Western players in the Western community are aware, there has been a few complications that have been cited by the Western community that have been trying to log in or play the game. Some of these common issues involve not being able to update the game through QApp or whatever third party they use, or if they're able to update it at all, they're at the emulator that they're using, BlueStacks, Moo, whatever the case may be, will not load the game at all. Like, you can update it, it'll show you the page, but it will not let you update the game. And this has been creating, I'm gonna say a little stronger than scare, but not quite mass hysteria. A little bit of panic, essentially, here and there as to what exactly happened, especially for those that are out of the loop or don't tune in or watch me frequently. First of all, going to ask why, but that's not the topic of this video. But anyway, so just to kind of explain what happened, to serve as a precursor to this information. So over the last couple weeks on the official Medarot channel, they announced that the game was going live on the Google Play beta, which is more or less kind of just a Play Store for PC devices so that you can essentially cross-platform your devices between, say, your Android phone, your tablet, and your PC, as a way to kind of unify the libraries and make it so that you can play the compatible games on one platform and move to another almost seamlessly. And at first glance, that actually is a very solid move, and it's actually good that Medarot S made it on that platform so that it can be cross-platform, like I said, just a little bit easier than it was before, if you're living in Japan. Now, for us Westerners who kind of had to resort to backdoor methods to play, that's kind of where the problem lies, and I'll get to that in just a second. The other big thing that they announced on the channel is that they were removing the Facebook and the Twitter account linking of Medarot S so that you could bind your save data to an account. So if anything happened, there's a way that you could recover it, making Google a Google backup, a Google account, the only way that you could keep your data safe as you transfer from platform to platform, or if you want to, or if you have to update your device or uninstall and come back later and reinstall. Which, at first glance, I'm okay with. I really don't need the Zuck and Musk to be able to keep a track on what games I play. I have Google doing that enough as it is, but I digress. Like I said, at first glance, it really isn't that big of an issue. It's actually a very good thing that has happened, and it made it a little easier. And over the coming weeks, they actually have announced that second thing with the binding of the Google account much sooner. So a lot of players actually had the opportunity to double check their bindings and just make sure everything behaves as it should in preparation for this. Now, I'm more than certain that they didn't expect it to be such a sudden change, a sudden implementation. Maybe just shut down one thing and then move to something else. But what happened with the Western community is been kind of creating a lot of panic. Like I said, people wondering, why can't I log in? I'm using this emulator. It was working fine yesterday. What's going on? Has anyone else had this problem? Why can I play? Why can't I play? What do I do to fix it? Lots and lots and lots of questions. And that's 100% fine and expected. That's what we want to do to help. And that's why I'm making this video, to essentially explain to you what happened and some ideas that you can use to kind of fix it, or at least try to create a workaround so that you can still play or log in, keep your streaks up, and participate in any active events that are ongoing, or even any future ones, so that we can keep this going. Because a lot of us have been playing for a pretty good time now, and it would be a shame to just suddenly drop the game. Now, like I said, I explained what exactly happened on the back end, what did it mean for us Westerners, and the kind of problems that it's been creating all through the day. So now essentially, you guys are probably wondering, what are the fixes? What can I do in the meantime to try to get this up and running as a more permanent solution, I guess I can call it, so that you can reinstall the game, you can play it properly, and really not have to worry about the third parties and emulators again. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, as it stands right now, with the exception of one emulator, and I will provide a link to it in the comments below, have all been borked. Based on this last update, it sounds like it was based on conversation I've been gleaning through the day. It sounds like it was more just an automatic safety thing from Google. Medarot and Imagineer had nothing to do with it. It's just the implementation of it changing platforms, but not. So again, if you are using an emulator, Mumu, BlueStacks, or any others that you use, that's going to be part of the problem right there, and that's essentially the whole source of it, is the emulators. Actually, let me backtrack. The auto safety, the auto security that Google uses to track what devices are legit and what aren't, kind of caught on to what emulators you're using and essentially borked them. Now, I would not be surprised if in the next few weeks that there might be a new patch update sometime on your usual emulation platform that says it's fixed, you're good to go, you should not have any problems again. Same thing with QApp, because I did actively engage and recommend that to people that wanted to play. I would not be surprised if they fix that, but right now, later is not really the now answer. Right now, the emulator that currently is still workable, according to conversation that I've been seeing in chat today, is called LDPlayer. And like I said, I will put a link down in the comments below this video, so you guys can go check it out, install it, and do as you need. For the most part, it should more or less work. It's gonna need a little bit of finagling, but it should work most like any other emulator would. BlueStacks, QApp, or anything else you can try. But the main primary fix right now that I'm seeing is the creation of a Japan Google account. Now, for players that have already done this or have done it for a while, I have an alternative email that I use for this particular reason, for this particular situation. And that's basically all it's used for. Players that have done that have not experienced any particular issue. Any that have access to the Japanese Play Store properly do not have any issues with it. It's primarily folks that are using the emulation that are having problems, whether you're playing it at home on your PC or if you have a device that is not necessarily set up with that Japan Google account. Now, the next question you're probably asking me is, but Kura, how exactly do I make a Japanese Google account? And honestly, it's really not that hard. It's actually really, really easy. It's as easy as you making another alternative email in whatever home country you live. Just a couple basic pieces of information that is necessary. In particular, for the Japan one, you will need a Japanese address for Google to validate. Doesn't really check it, but just something that you can use. It may or may not need a phone number for you to verify that it's not a bot account. Just kind of play with it as on a case-by-case basis. And the other thing that you'll need, just to make sure that everything behaves with no real, with no chance or as little chance as possible for a snag, is a VPN. Now, you don't need the VPN every single time you play. It's not going to be a requirement going forward. This is just to get the account set up so that you can sign in, verify all the information needed, and get proper access to the Japanese Google Play Store. Once you have that account set up and ready and done, you really don't need that VPN anymore. All you really need to do is just turn it on, set your device to have its IP in Japan, Tokyo, wherever you'd want, whatever you prefer particular, so that your device thinks it's in Japan, or in this case, your emulator, whatever you choose to use. After that, then you can create the Japanese Google account, and like you would any other Google account, Gmail. Create a username, create a password, put in a street address, and any other information that's at minimum needed to verify it, and you're basically done. Once that's created, you can go ahead and turn the VPN off, and you should have full unrestricted access to the Japanese Google Play Store. Once you do, you really should have no issue installing the game, downloading it, and getting everything working. So that solves that problem. TLDR, emulators are borked. You are going to need a Japanese Google account, whether you change yours or whether you may create an alt, pretty much going forward. And I really can't fault Imagineer for this one, because they have kind of given us that warning ahead of time that they were doing this and removing a lot of the account linkage. And we probably should have already been doing this at this point anyway to make sure that our account information stays safe, but I digress. Now, the other question people have been asking, especially with them having to change format platforms, going from one emulator to LDPlayer, like I said, is how to transfer your game save so that you make sure all your stuff is there. That step is really, really easy. On the home screen for Medarot S, there will be a tab that you can use. There will be a tab up in the top right where you can sign in with your current game if you have an account already. In this case, you sign in with the respective Google account that it's attached to, and you're good to go. And that's basically it. The game will install everything else on its own. No real problems, no hiccups, and you're basically good. Just make sure you double check all the verifications to make sure that you say you are importing an account and not writing over one, because the wording on that prompt is kind of ambiguous. Just make sure that you understand it clearly first before you do it. You see what else? The other thing, if something does happen to your account in some form or fashion, you lose it, it does not appear when you sign in, there are ways that you can still rescue it. Don't panic, you are okay, your account has not gone anywhere. You can reach out to the customer. I'm just going to call it customer care support line. Excuse me, or their support line, or their support email to get information so that you can explain the situation on what happened. Just make sure that you include the username or user ID of your account, the email it's attached to, and any other pertinent information as necessary. I am told they are very, very responsive with account restoration and rescue, so you really shouldn't have too much issue with that. Just make sure that you do have a translator on hand as you do the back and forth, so that you can translate anything you say into Japanese properly. Just double check for grammar, make sure that everything's behaving as it should, and coordinate with there as necessary. Now, I can't guarantee that these methods will work perfectly every single time. There is still kind of an element of risk just to make, in the case of something not working or if something changes or whatever the case may be. But I do want to assure you guys, don't panic. Everything's fine. Your accounts are okay. Your accounts are okay as long as you've linked them to something, preferably now Google going forward. If you have not linked your account to Google at any given point, there still is a chance that the support line may be able to help you, but at that point you'd be holding your breath and hoping and praying. If you have not signed in or linked your account to anything at all, I'm afraid I really don't have anything I can tell you. They have given us warning up to this point, and it is something that we have had warning and forward heads up on going forward. Now, I don't want this to deter any of you from still playing the game or still trying to enjoy it and make it work, especially to our new players that are just now coming in and wanting to play and enjoy the game, because it is a very enjoyable game and we all love it for that very reason. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to just explain what exactly happened on the May 30th patch, May 30, 2024 with Medarot S. 3.8 I think is the game version at time of recording. Just to explain and clarify you guys and make sure everything's okay and just assure your doubts. Everything's okay. There are workarounds you can use to fix it and take care of everything, and you can still play the game on your PC or any other device as normal. TLDR, just to wrap up everything I've said in the last 12, 13 minutes or so, emulators are basically borked, all but one right now. That is subject to change. Primarily, you will need to sign up and set up a Japanese Google account just that you have one on hand, and just to hold on to it as a just in case you need it for some other reason. Sign into it, access the Japanese Play Store, and basically install the game natively from the Japan Play Store region. And from there, you really shouldn't have any problems. Once it's installed, you can remove the VPN, turn it off, and you should be just fine because your device really doesn't know otherwise. And then with account restoration signing in, it'll be a button on the top right of the title screen, like I said. Again, pay very close attention to the prompt when you sign in so that you don't accidentally overwrite your data. And if there are any problems, if you accidentally do that, or if your account still isn't found, you can use the support line and reach out to them, again with all pertinent information, and they can try to help you the best they can. I will provide links to all those below so that you have access to them on hand. And with that, I do wish you guys the best of luck. Again, just wanted to clarify everything and just tell you guys it's okay. Most of us have already fixed this bug already and got it working again as normal. Others still kind of working on it, so it is still a perfectly viable workaround. But with that being said, until next time, I do want to let you guys know ahead of time. I hope that this does assure and put to rest any doubts or any worries or concerns you might have. What else? That's basically it. Just a brief touch up and just touching base, making sure everything's okay. Only other note, just make sure you guys tune in to my weekly episode on Tuesday on the 4th of June. I have a very special project and surprise ready for you guys for my 3rd anniversary. I am excited to show it to you and celebrate my 3 years in content creation with you guys. But with that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for touching base and stopping in for this emergency episode, I'm just going to call it. Until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.